Yeah, you can start now.
So Area 51. Storming Area 51. Finally, the day passed, 20th of September, right?
Yeah. Like, I'm not the boss. Like, I thought like people just go to the internet hawk, so I think people just say it, then no one shows up. And
Yeah. I knew that some people will show up, but I obviously,
the hard
storming in, I
FOMO,
did not expect that.
which they
No, people have balls.
technically they did storm me night.
Yeah, they did. Not really. Okay, they were trespassing. They snuck in, but
Okay, from the warning they got, yes, they stopped me. Because that one, the same one, like, and come any closer, and you'll be
oh
shut
yeah,
down.
yes. Okay, well, that one was a stern warning. I'm glad the military was clear. They actually released an official statement where they actually made it clear that whoever tried, this is a military base. We hold a lot of confidential stuff, so trespassing here will not be tolerated at any cost.
But I'm
So
sure if you're a conspiracy theorist, that tells you, like, this is what to
yes, this is what. Why are they stopping us? You didn't add more fuel to the fire.
do. Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm glad no one was hurt. Actually, the guy who started the whole thing, the guy who usually, I've forgotten his name. He's always wearing some Naruto badge on his head.
See, that's why I tell you, Naruto is the greatest anime ever. It inspires people.
Yeah, it inspired a lot of people to do crazy stuff. So he himself, when he saw that people are taking it seriously, like 2 months prior to that, he was like, "Guys, okay, let's not take this out of hand. I just say this as a joke, but people are taking it seriously." Then close
Does the
to,
same guy have a huge platform, or what does he do? Is he like a YouTuber or something like that?
I think he's a YouTuber. He's a YouTuber. He talks about gaming, anime, different stuff. So he really gained some popularity after that. But he made it clear that that's after he saw how serious it was. Saw a couple of interviews of him where he made it clear that okay, I started that as a joke and I was not serious. We just said it to see, just to do something, to say something different, to stand out. Yeah, now it really it was out there. It was as out there as alien existence.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I think people just wanted an excuse to do it because like everyone was like looking at each other and actually like in the group looking and say like, when I want to do it now.
Yeah, sudden epiphany, sudden realization. Like, you know what? This might just work.
And they can't stop us.
And you know the thing is, like, 2 million subscribers, 2 million people said they will attend.
Yeah. So that thing on Facebook, yeah, it's like 2
Yes.
million plus, and last time I checked. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they were like, if at least just 1% of us, which is 20,000, shows up, they are not going to kill 20,000 people. So there was strength in numbers. Or are they? Yeah. You really think, okay, but I don't think, do you think they would have killed 20,000 people?
They were shot with a death ray. And wait a minute. We didn't take the so there are no bodies.
Yeah, we warned you. We have serious weapons. So,
and if they go missing, that means I didn't kill them.
Yeah, the truth is out there. X-Files. So it was an amazing experience. But some people they ignored the warnings and found themselves okay, since Area 51 is just it's miles. It's an area that has a radius miles across. So
that's one I read the base like almost at the center. Then there's like last ground like where like where even if you trespass the even if you're driving the car, even if before you reach the place, you get stopped.
You get stopped. Yeah, they will intervene. So the quickest place to go is over and drop down straight above it. But
that's a no-fly zone again.
Yes, that's the thing. So what are you going to do? Hell, they'll shoot you down. I don't think there's a plane big enough to carry 20,000 people. So maybe if it's carrying a lot of passengers.
How big are those mad? Oh, those mad big planes.
The Boeing, is it?
Yeah, the Boeing.
Yeah, 777.
And those like that.
I think the largest I've ever heard just carries about 500 people, which is the Airbus. And it ferries people like from one continent to another. It would be so expensive to fly from a small area to another one. So usually Europe to the US to the Americas. Yeah.
I guess it's not digging. There are plenty of time.
We're going to the US, right? That okay? Can all the European guys attending come on board this plane?
But okay, it was amazing like what people can do and what the nerds are up to.
What the nerds are up to, they were really pumped up. But some two Dutch citizens were arrested, some teenagers.
How far did they get?
I don't know how far they went, but they were apprehended before they could even see a military base inside.
It reminds me of what's that movie? Avengers. What's that? The last one.
Endgame.
Yeah, didn't they go to Area 51 as well?
Where
they broke it. Where Tony met his dad.
Yeah.
Area 51.
It's a military base in New Jersey though. But similar, yeah, similar. They were harboring alien technology. So, I think these superhero movies are giving people too much confidence, and it's a good thing, but people are
you might work out with it, son. You might work up some alien superpowers, huh? You never know. Okay, the memes are hilarious. The memes are much fun. I mean, if you want.
Yeah, the memes are hilarious. I actually, you remember, I did send you a map of their game plan.
Yeah.
Like the first wave of Naruto runners will go this. Okay, that they made history. I think I've never seen such a comedic event taken so seriously. You know that they are serious, but you just can't help it but laugh.
Yeah, better than comic one.
Yeah, that was a good one though. Anyway, but it was eventually turned into a musical festival.
Serious?
Yeah, the organizer himself, I think, was in on some. Actually, had a few discussions because he started decampaigning the whole thing, but they were like, get out of here. There were people, the strength of the crowd.
Yeah.
They pumped themselves up. Then they started a side thing like, storming Area 51 is a bad idea. Just come for this music festival. Musical festival.
Where 51 is? Right next to it.
Right after I get drunk and party, let's storm the hell out of Chan. And maybe if we host a party nearby, the aliens will feel the desire to break out.
Or maybe that the aliens are being kept from us, or it's the other way around.
Yeah, they were true. So, but I'm glad it passed and no one got harmed. Let's talk about the other one. Okay. Is it scheduled for November? Storm the National Reserve Bank, the National Reserve.
What is in West? That is in West.
Okay. I know Area 51 is based on something. We don't know what's kept in Area 51, right? So you might die for no reason, but at least we all know what's in the National Reserve. If you're going to die, at least it should be something of great value, such as gold. So,
that's the thing. At least F1, you find the alien, at least it proves something. Why you get choked up for nothing?
Yeah, that's just like the largest heist. That would just be the largest heist of all time. So, That's still National Reserve.
Unless maybe
Okay.
that thing like where like they were mindless and that like where like waves and waves of people just running, like that's a movie like World War Z, like people just running mindlessly, like
Mindlessly.
yeah, like
Okay.
face waves like getting shot down, but people are like there's so many like they get overwhelmed. I can wake. My face like we want turn, we want access.
We want access.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be. But do you really? Okay. Hypothetically speaking, if that was possible, right? Like
Storming F1 or storming one.
National Reserve. How do you think the reaction from the government would be? They would respond
I don't
with
know.
violence.
Obviously,
They
but
would,
I'm
okay,
sure.
they would respond with
I
there
think
would be
they'll
it would be a
blockade
violent
before
response.
it should be more like a route. You see them coming, then like they form a blockades, then they just spray them with water guns or something like that.
Yeah, so they would probably have water cannons and
Yeah.
other specialized equipment they have. I've seen one for electromagnetic energy. It gives a burning sensation, but you don't really get burned. More like microwave thing.
Ah.
Yeah, so I'm sure they would. Yeah, if they would use lethal force, attack with prejudice.
But I'm sure for that one, not many people will be invested in storming it. The National Reserve compared to F1. Because as for F1, like it brings almost everyone who's an extraterrestrial
Enthusiast, yeah.
all over the world. But for the money issue, like most people don't really like China. Most people who into that thing, they're more into the unknown than the known in a sense. Like at least you know what you're going to.
Mm.
And it's maybe lie to them and then actually the aliens are in what's at the National Reserve than China. Like they like
The gold is in there.
yeah, like this they can switch a rule.
That's a good one. And you know, funny thing is that some people were like, prior to that, when it was just like being drummed up, obviously people say go in there to Area 51 and they would spray paint, aliens lifting up, showing the middle finger, stuff like that. So I remember one person said like, no, in as much as remember last time when we discussed about this, like it gives them so much time to move the aliens if they're even there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to replace them with gold. Since we have two events, now listen up, soldiers. We have two events going on. We have the National Reserve and Area 51. Let's swap, but that can be a good one.
Yeah,
They swap them.
but it can also be a good one. This is like since someone, honestly, if someone is watching, like this is like those movies, like the mastermind does like a intent hoax, right? Or in the don't see the government's reaction. Then as they are moving the aliens, he now like like hijacks the Chan because that's at the weakest point or the less guarded Chan. Once they're moving, guys, and like we're like stationary. That's a movie like when like it's easier to hijack a moving target. You may say like
Yeah.
or maybe they did. You just didn't hear about it.
Just don't mention the date. So we're storming, but we won't mention the date. 10 years later.
Yeah. Actually,
Oh.
you go back in time, like some time traveler.
And because of the technology they found in Area 51, they have, okay, that can be a good one. I see. That's how great concepts of movies and stories come about.
So it's a just huge paradox, like saying, like actually you did something everyone, but not in this timeline. The timeline.
Yeah, timeline. Another one. Then we went back in time to steal from the National Reserve.
Yeah.
Then we went in the future to create the event on Facebook.
Yeah. And then the other guy was like, no, let's stop them before they dash and did. That's also part of the plan as well, like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's the guys that did like, please don't go. You know, like, go.
Yeah, that can be a good one. That can be an interesting story. Yeah, anyway, yeah, glad no one was hurt because I think in this day and age, in as much as the military would not hold back to gun down anyone threatening.
No, I'm sure in this stage actually they're going to hold back in a sense like don't use deadly force.
Deadly force, yes. Of course, they won't use weapons that will kill you. I'm sure they will try. They will use force enough to stop you but not to kill you. Because with everyone, I would say with the world having eyes everywhere in terms of cell phones and internet, killing so many people would be considered mass genocide, in as much as the people were wrong. Because some were teenagers, like those guys who were apprehended. There was another case I read about. He wasn't really mentally stable, so we would have such people. I really think it's a good thing the event was turned into a music festival. Otherwise, we would be playing sad songs, funeral songs. Okay.
Sad songs. I hear voices in my head.
Then the aliens in Area 51 are like, damn, these guys are much more brutal than we thought. We thought all our torturing and our dissections were horrible. Killing their own people like that. Yeah, but that's a good one.
But I'm sure a movie is going to come out very soon.
Yeah, I'm sure. Because nowadays people are releasing movies over anything. As long as it's something new.
As long as I straight to DVD, I straight to chat YouTube or chat straight to Facebook.
Naruto, with the Naruto runners. I wonder how the trailer could be. That would be okay, but Storming Area 51. I think this is the event of the year, in my opinion. This has been the event of the year that never really happened.
But Chaman-chan, it's far. I could have gone, but Chan, it was like nearby.
If it was, you would have gone.
Yeah. The first distance, of course.
Yeah, I'm right behind you.
And from the next town over, and just in case at the nuclear fallout.
Yeah. And the closest town has got a population of about 50. So even if they kill people, like no one will be there to witness. So
okay, but the town was right there. Where?
Yeah. Storming Area 51. Crazy Americans. That's how I think the influence of movies and the other ideas has really liberated people in some way, but enslaved them in another way.
I think,
yeah.
Like a hive mind, isn't like if everyone thinks the same, like a certain group of people thinks the same. So like see that black people. That's the thing. You can usually find 10 people who agree with you, and then 10 people who disagree with you on the internet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in this case, they found 3 million people who agreed with them, and that's a whole lot of people.
Yeah. In terms of if you look at it, like back in the day, we would have like governments oppressing people, right? And human rights would not be respected. Regardless, the governments would commit crimes and just no one would point a finger at them. But nowadays, I feel like because of the global village thing, pressure is coming from all corners.
And the internet.
Yeah, and the internet. Like, for example, xenophobia, right? The xenophobic attacks, which were okay. Somebody say those are not attacks. That's just like xenophobia is just xenophobia. It's you're just.
Those are not attacks. Then people die. Then people get hit.
Yeah, they do die, but when you look at the definition of the term attack, yeah, so it was more like an ambush of some sort. Yeah.
But you expect an attack, you don't expect an ambush.
Yeah. So it was terrible. Like if you look at what happened in South Africa, because the issue of xenophobia has been happening a lot. So it's more of a cultural thing, you know. I feel like there's no country that should be that much behind in terms of respecting human laws, human rights, and laws. There's no way the government has been
helped out like that. The memory is so fresh.
Sorry?
I'm saying when you were helped out in Chan, getting
yes. Yeah, and you know that's what hurts the most. Like South Africa is one of the countries that were liberated like really late in Africa, and they faced what's that thing? Apartheid,
Yeah.
which was just they're more like xenophobia in some way, just because a person is not from within or is of another skin color.
I think that's reverse xenophobia. And the people from outside were trying to repressing the people from the inside.
Yeah, like how can it be a crime, a black person chilling with a white person? Like really, and it was like after this time, no white person should be found with a black person. So people who had multiracial relationships, say finding it hard and stuff like that, so they would stick it, they would have underground parties and stuff like that. Some will be raided, people will be beaten, the black people will be beaten, the white people spared. Like really? So that
Somewhere like in his book or in his interview, like you go home.
Maziboko.
I don't know the white dude like hey
Yeah.
MP.
Anyway, it's sort of thing like for them to be oppressing other people, because what happened is South Africa started running away from their country in being persecuted.
Yeah.
There were some people who were accused of being the spearheaders of that. Perfect example, Nelson Mandela, Thabo Mbeki, and all these other guys. Thabo Mbeki, who came into Zambia and actually lived here for a while. Nelson Mandela was given by the first president of Zambia at the time. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda was the president, right? So he was given. He could have stayed in here because he was given the right. You can come here without any passport, without any paperwork. This is your home. You can come and live here. But he decided to stay. I don't really know the reasons, but he decided to stay that side. But so many of them came into Zambia. Robert Mugabe as well was one of them who came and lived into Zambia. Zambia like sacrificed a lot financially and just relationship wise with the outside world, with South Africa, because they have a lot of business ties together. So Zambia sacrificed a lot just to see.
They give now, I know the crime rates. Like, one thing that surprised me was the chief inspector, like some high official, like because more is law enforcement. You're saying I know the reason why the attacks happened because of Shan. The foreigners are stealing, but let's imagine someone who's in charge of maintaining the peace,
the law and order.
Yeah, he's always saying that. Like, I would understand someone who's looting or doing the bad stuff saying that, but someone who's in charge of actually maintaining the shine, like, that means it's more like everyone is in on it.
Other countries for other foreign, because now it encompasses everyone. You'll find that, like I'll give an example, right? There was a problem in the US way back where Chinatown became more like untouchable because it was a closed community in a way. Yeah. That if a crime is committed there, people forget sometimes. I'm not supporting xenophobia, but if you look at it from that point of view, like we've heard stories that foreigners do attack South Africans and stuff. Maybe it's just one. Like it might be one attack and it's confirmed. But do you know where it lasts long? Okay, the power of a bad name. Like you can build a house. You can build houses. You won't be remembered as Study Songi, so the guy who built the houses for people. You can build schools for people. You won't be remembered as Daddy Songi, so the one who built schools for people. You can build roads, bridges, water pumps. You won't be remembered as that. But if you slap one girl, yes, people will be like, no, that politician, he's bad. Look at it. Like, they'll remember you for that. So bad deeds usually cast long shadows, yes. So the foreigners also people, some are criminals. Let's not even beat about the bush. Yes, just because you're a foreigner in another country doesn't mean you're a saint. Obviously, someone just committed something, but because if it's highlighted that no, because maybe that crime was committed, not that because he's a foreigner, but he's just a bad person, right? Yes. Now people will take it as that because they've instilled that boundary in their mind, like these are foreigners, we are different from them.
Yeah.
So that's how your perspective will change now. So that's where the problem is. So that's where we have waves, and when the citizens retaliate, they kill innocent people. The people who have lost their loved ones will be hurt as well. Yes, so that's the ripple effect. But you know,
didn't you go to High Commission?
Oh yeah, in Zambia they went to the High Commission.
Even here,
protesting.
But it was even peaceful compared to other places.
Yeah, in Zambia it was actually peaceful. No one was hurt in Zambia. No foreigner was hurt. Point blank. There was no one beaten up. No one was done bad. Even the shops that they raided, they only raided ShopRite, one store in ShopRite.
But
and you know, no, the Mandahi one, like the ones who started that movement were University of Zambia students, right?
Yeah.
So when they went to Mandahi, they just protested, banged on the doors, cracked a few glass doors, walked away. Yeah, just like any other ordinary University of Zambia day. So they only looted some umbrellas from Hungry Lion, which is a franchise owned by South African, by ShopRite themselves actually. Yeah. It's a subsidiary of ShopRite, I think. Yeah. So when they went into town, and we all know that town, there's a lot of confused guys, those street guys.
Yeah.
So once they just see a crowd, they'll do anything. And those were the ones responsible for that. Even the Unza guys made some statement like that. And if you look at the videos that were going around, I never saw anyone in black, like looting and stuff. Maybe there might have been one or two, but it was because of that movement they started. Now, like even people.
Yeah, it goes back the same. Even one thing, like the guys who, it's a joke, but someone takes it seriously.
Mm-hmm. And commits the crime for real.
These are African countries. Like, they even show, like, I remember seeing pictures and articles of people showing places where you can't even rent. Like, if you're African, there's even, even show me that thing, like a post of, like, if there's even like a poster outside the premises, like, if you're African, you can't rent a room here or hotel here. Only white people and Chinese people, like that thing. But here, meanwhile, you come to Africa, then the chance you're free to do business, any business you want. But otherwise, you're free to stay in any part of Zambia, or any part of Zambia you want to stay, any hotel you can stay. But there's always a double standard when it comes to Africans going to that side, like, especially like Asian countries. The same as if the same xenophobia thing, like, where, like, you come to us to teach you well, but you want to treat us bad because of sitting color or something like that. Like, and you let it slide. I also have to do, like, the guys in charge. Like, if someone, like, the president says, like, no, guys, you can't treat our citizens badly. Why would treat you good, or why would do business with you, but we don't treat us like shit? That's the thing. Most of the guys who are in charge of what you call this, representing us in a sense, they don't even do nothing. That's the thing. Like, that's why people are emboldened to do things like that, of that nature, because they know, like, even if you do this and that, nothing happens. Even for the Xenophobic thing, even if SADC had put sanctions, like, say, if South Africa does this and that, won't put sanctions and tariffs on these South African corporations that do business in southern countries. The thing, people act up properly. People won't be too eager to start to try and commit violence and such. But the thing is, people just keep quiet. Nothing happens.
Yes, I agree with that. The Zambian police were more active during the xenophobia phase than the South African. Okay, maybe it's because we were not in South Africa. We don't know. Well, we can't speak for them. But according to the news I was watching online, the Zambian police really, when they heard that UNZA students are actually, like, since I live near the University of Zambia, right? The whole road was blocked. There were barricades, police in riot clothing.
But
they were out there.
But no one issued a statement saying that's okay. That's supposed to be done, yes. But no one issued a statement condemning the attacks in South Africa. Even what's that guy's name? The Commissioner of Change, the guy who's in South Africa, the High Commissioner of
Zambia to South Africa.
Is it Emmanuel, right?
Yeah.
He's always quick to comment on stuff that goes on. He said, but stuff that's going on that side. We never really did he even say anything? Did he even say statement saying, no, I'm talking to the guys from this side about that? Nothing happened, right?
Nothing happened because, okay, I don't know. Maybe they tried to talk. Maybe they did say,
But
but
they're supposed to come out public and wishing a statement.
yes,
Statement is not,
yeah.
only for people that side, it's not for people this side to let them know, like, no, guys, we're handling the situation here, like, stay calm when we see then you just keeping quiet. Quiet leaves a wrong impression. Like,
yeah, but I also feel like South Africa is to blame because I have relatives in South Africa, right?
yeah, no, I'm saying I'm not absorbing the chance of the wrong in it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I understand. Yes, I'm not saying you're supporting. Definitely, I know you, and I know the kind of person you are. You wouldn't condone such kind of nonsense. Yes.
But, will I?
Anyway, you sure they never broke you out of Area 51? Yeah. Sometimes your thoughts are out of this world. Anyway, I have relatives who live in South Africa. I have a cousin who used to live with us, then moved there. Then his siblings are all born and bred in South Africa, yeah. So they are South African by birth. I don't even think bringing them back to Zambia, they would feel at home. No, they've grown up there. Now, like having such a mentality, I feel like it's up to the government and the people themselves to shun such kind of behavior. Because once they start instilling that mentality of equalness in them, such kind of things will stop. Here in Zambia, there is a mentality of equality. Everyone is the same. When last, like some few months ago, there was some Chinese national who was killed, right? Shop owner. I don't know if you heard that his wife and he and his wife were murdered.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yes, Zambia is not, in terms of resources, Zambia is smaller than South Africa, but that perpetrator was tracked down. Within 2 days, he was arrested. And I don't know how South Africa has been failing to catch people who commit xenophobic crimes when they have more resources than Zambia. On that part, I refuse the excuses they give. I don't feel like they work as hard. Because if you say, whoever will review, even just one, will give them 100,000 kwacha, 100,000 rands. Even your own brother will be like, dude, goodbye to unemployment, say hello to. Definitely, because almost a lot of people saw those videos. They even saw the perpetrators. You get my point? Somebody's bound to blow a whistle somewhere. So I don't feel like they take the necessary steps. The xenophobic attacks have been happening waves and waves. I have an uncle who lives there. His friend was actually among the people who were murdered some time back. That was like 2008.
Yeah, and the thing like it's happening every year. Like it's now a common occurrence.
It's now yes, every year, every.
Point was going to be normalized now. Like certain of the don't go to
It's that like xenophobia, stay indoors and stuff like that. So I feel like the government if the government has been doing their job or the law enforcement were doing what they were supposed to be doing, taking that as serious as possible, none of this would, because it's been happening for years. What excuse do you have?
I remember seeing what you call this during the last year's events, the same thing. So a white reporter from Nigeria was asking the guys who were doing attacks, like, you're attacking your fellow Africans, but how come you're attacking white people? Like, he says that no, they're not taking our jobs. There was a clear distinction, like nothing like you already know you attack of your kind, but you can't. I'm not saying you should attack the white people, but
yes, I get what you mean, and I get what she meant.
Yeah, it's easier to attack someone who looks like you because you feel you can get away with it than someone who's not unlike you. Like the self-hate is still there in a sense, like
yeah, true.
You value a white person's life over a black person's life in a sense, like. But
yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I get what you mean, and I like there was a point you raised, this statement you made, like you value a white person's life more than you value a black person's life. it's a mentality that we are taught by our parents, by our surroundings.
Yeah.
Once we start breaking that, everyone's life is the same.
Yeah.
There's places where there's racism as well, like in the US.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a black man and you're running at full speed in the middle of the street, you must be running away from something or someone, or you must have committed a crime. White people run at full speed without being, we'll just say, it's some crazy white guy.
Yeah.
So that should change. Like, crazy is in every race. The crazy is in every person, whether man, woman. I feel like if you're going to persecute one person based on a certain profile, no, maybe because he's a fellow African, he's not supposed to be having, like the people who go there, start businesses.
Yeah.
They start selling second-hand motor vehicles. They start, it should tell you something about yourself. Like you've been sitting in this country. You were born in this country, but it had to take somebody from far away to see an opportunity. So is that really the problem? We need to change our perspective as human beings and recognize the opportunities we have and just change everything. There's a lot of
because even the jobs that they do are those
lowly ones, right?
Yeah,
it's not the high profile jobs.
Are now shunning them because they say, no, I can't do this job because of perception. I want to look outside. They can't do manual labor now.
Yes, misplaced anger. Even I like what Julius Malema said. He was actually more active than the president himself, which was very disappointing. Yeah. For me, I feel like if such a thing had to happen and I was the president, if I've never ordered the military to wage war against such perpetrators, I think that would be the first time I would issue a national state of emergency. Because it was really an emergency. There's no way people can be killed here and there, corner to corner. There's a lot of people who are killed and mistreated.
Some which goes unreported.
Yes. Others went on unreported. So Julius Malema, one of the aspiring presidential candidates in South Africa, said, yeah, you were saying?
No, I know him well.
He said, there's no way we can be cheating these people. Like, we don't have jobs, they're taking our jobs. Yeah, okay. Even if they went, there'll still be no jobs, because the point is there are no jobs, period. What there's you can't force if there is nothing. Like you can't force people to give you jobs if there are no jobs. If there's an opening for 10 people and you're 100 of you, whether we take away the foreigners who just make up maybe just 2%, not even 2%, if you have 100 employees in a company, right? Maybe 2 or maybe just 5 are not foreigners. Then you come applying for jobs. Even if we take away those foreigners, we'll still have a multitude of people who will be unemployed. And we should not forget that sometimes it's about experience. So what if that person really, really knows that craft well? As a business owner, even if I'm South African, I'm not South African or I'm South African, will I risk employing a fellow South African who doesn't know what to do instead of employing another person a specialist who knows what to do in that situation? So all these things, anyway, those crimes were being committed by the people who are, I don't like to say educated, because I think it's just pure ignorance. Yeah. Even though I'm sure, because I saw an interview where those guys even spoke far much better English than the people they were actually killing. Yeah. So that means they've been to school. What are you doing?
It's not even a shut up, but it's like a societal problem. Even
yes.
People who are in positions of power are saying the same rhetoric as the people who are attacking the people. So that's no, it's just like the lower middle class guy. Yes.
So it's a habit thing. Like here in Zambia, I'll give an example. Like Rwanda, when there was that mass genocide, right? I'm sure it also started as a joke. It became serious. Now it was because I'm Hutu, then I'm Tutsi. No, it's because I'm this, that. Then a murder happened. Somebody murdered somebody. Now what? So that's the thing. Like it's then it was a wave and wave and wave. Misplaced anger. Just because you're unemployed, you start blaming. No, these guys have been. Does it really come down to your house and take the food away from your fridge and let your kids starve? Really, like I think opportunity.
Are also being negative. Because once you say like you point that direction, that side, once those guys are done with those guys, right? You see the stream doesn't change. Who's next? You're going to be next.
Yeah.
Because once that starts, like keeps on going forward, okay? You may keep quiet now, but you're going to be next eventually.
And that's where the thing. So I think our perspective on life should change if we want to succeed. Boundaries that we create in our minds, no, because this person is black, no, because this person is white, because this person is Asian, Caucasian, and all these other funny names. If we change that mentality, we'll be able to see even greater opportunities where we used to think there is boundaries. True, yeah, in some countries, and that's why I always say, leave those who are ignorant on their own. Seek for those who are wise. Then you prosper. Yes, it's true. Like even in Kenya, there was some Chinese opened a restaurant. Is it a restaurant or a lodge, hotel, club?
No, I saw that guy like Chinese searching Kenyatta. This is what you're about.
Like where they were like only white people, Asians, and
I didn't see that one.
You didn't see that one? It was on social media some few years ago, like really spread. So it was terrible. Like, first of all, have the respect for those people who live in that country, not for the race, but for the people who live in that country. If you go open, it's like I don't have an oven, right? And I want to bake some food, and I come to your house. I ask for permission. I don't pay for power. I don't pay for inconveniencing you. Then I bake thousands of scones and cakes. Then I just leave empty-handed. Okay, maybe because I know you and maybe you know that I want to sell these or stuff like that, you would just shrug it off. But if I do that over and over and over again, that would be very disrespectful to you, who's giving me the opportunity to create that, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what those Chinese guys did. They were very disrespectful to the Kenyans, who are the owners of that land, and to go and forbid them to enter in a club that you built in their land. That's just so disrespectful. Whether it's a racial thing, even if a Zambian did that, I would be very disappointed. A black Zambian national, I would be very disappointed anyway. But back to my point, like once we just eradicate that, creating boundaries where there isn't. Because for me, I always say this: if we had an alien attack